it's very much the Queen is dead. God save the King. Simple as that. It's almost a seamless transition, and then there will be he will sit on the throne and get the crown at a later date. So it will be seamless in that sense. I mean, from the moment that the Queen passes away, Charles is king. It's that simple.
We've come together as father and son to lend our voices to the growing global effort to combat the illegal wildlife trade, a trade that has reached such unprecedented levels of killing and related violence that it now poses a grave threat not only to the survival of some of the world's most treasured species, but also to economic and political stability in many areas around the world.
I don't think Prince Charles is going to generate a great deal of enthusiasm. I mean, he's going to come to the throne as a man in his 70s. Who knows, it could even be in his 80s. He's not going to reflect or represent a fresh face for the monarchy. It's going to be another, aged, elderly monarch ascending to the throne, even though, of course, he's been Prince of Wales for so many years. I think, that he does have a potential relevance around the environment, but talking to younger people, I've been struck recently by how they are very animated in their opposition to him by watching The Crown. And even though they weren't alive for Diana's life or death, they speak with great passion about that period and about how wronged Diana was. And so I think, interestingly, whereas it might be imagined that given the length of time that's passed since that a new generation would grow up without that baggage of Diana and the 1990s. Actually, that's perhaps not the case. So I think the best that Prince Charles as king can hope for is probably apathy and a sense of, shrugged shoulders, yes, he's king, not particularly bothering people enough to be actively opposed and speaking out against the monarchy. But I don't think he's going to end up feeling, that he's particularly popular, and certainly not, on the level of his mother, the Queen.
Where are we going?
Oh, you look smart.
I mean, where are we going?
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that, with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
This way, Mom.
All right, then we'll let Let's remember that the Crown is a fictitious, very good fictitious piece of television, and it's using certain real events to bolster up and make it believable. But it is a drama. It's not real. However, I do believe that when Charles does become king, the thorny question of Queen Camilla will raise its head again.
I think Prince Charles is a popular figure. There are always going to be people who don't like him. because he has been quite a controversial figure. When the Queen came to the throne, I don't think anybody disliked her because nobody really knew her. She was the glamorous princess who had a wonderful fairy tale wedding to the man she loved, and that was all people knew about her. Charles has been around for over 70 years, and he has been active in those years. He's got involved in all sorts of quasi-political areas, and expressed his views, and he's launched charities to further his views, and that has made him pretty unpopular. He's got involved with urban regeneration, with rural regeneration, with the environment, with conservation, with architecture, with education. These are all areas, medicine, areas that people have strong views about. So there are people who object to him, and there are also people who can't forgive him for the failure of his marriage to Diana. So he will have his work cut out. But anybody that has come across Charles, I would say, or who knows him, will love him. He is a very, very likable man. And he's incredibly hardworking. He has, really given body and soul to making his years as Prince of Wales meaningful.
Well, I think the important thing for Prince Charles is that he very early in his life identified things that he cared about. The environment being one of them, inequality being another, including issues around race equality. And I think that, what he has learned as a result of doing that work is something that, of course, he will take with him when he becomes king.
De la paix, la racine de leur histoire et une source d'inspiration.
Together they with you. Pour que sa voix comme un écho de ton appel.
Hello, how are you? This is a great pleasure to see you. Hello, how are you? 很高兴见到你。
Is it? Oak. Is it an oak? It's always interesting, it's the after moment, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we love, how it kind of lingers on the tongue.
I'm trying to find the fruitcake.
Well, if you're after the fruitcake flavours, what I'd really recommend is actually the sherry one there.
Really?
But
The second stage, Black Custom ceremony.
The pouring out of the cover is to remember our ancestors that have gone before and also to honor the land from which the cover comes.
I think so often when questions are asked about what kind of monarch Prince Charles is going to be, I think what people overlook is that Prince Charles's conduct of his public life, of his royal life as Prince of Wales, shows the extent to which he'd taken on the model of his two parents. You know, he has made a greater contribution to the life of this nation than any previous Prince of Wales. He carries out more public duties than any previous Prince of Wales, in the same way that the Queen has consistently carried out more public engagements than any previous sovereign. So, although we talk about change, I think it's important also to focus on that very significant aspect of the Prince of Wales that is clearly shaped by the positive example of his parents. The Prince of Wales is not the same person as the Queen, and obviously the personality of the monarch will affect the conduct of monarchy. So I think one would anticipate changes. There's often been an idea that the Prince of Wales will slim down the monarchy. Well, the monarchy is going to slim down naturally because the so-called minor royals, the Queen's cousins, are all of a certain age and are not going to be around indefinitely.